Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is May the 13th, 2025. I had been wanting to report on this for a minute, but there's been so much going on within not my personal life. I mean, I got some shit going on, but as far as the conspiracy community, there is a shit ton going on. It's so hard to keep up because I only really have the time to put out probably like one podcast a day. Here lately I've been doing yard work and stuff, clearing up limbs from last year's we had some like crazy ass thunderstorms that just knocked out a shit ton of limbs and shit. So I'm kind of clearing all that up, having to fill a sinkhole in the backyard. So fun, you know. But I just feel like every day it's something new, which is good considering I have a conspiracy podcast, because that gives me plenty to talk about. But as far as update, nothing really new. Just work, and then going home, playing Zelda. Sorry, I just finished eating Zelda, playing Zelda 1 and Link to the Past. If you like Zelda games, go check out my last podcast yesterday. I did a Link's Awakening review, my favorite Zelda, so go check that out, and there will be more game reviews. I have some notes written up and stuff for some that I'm going to review later. So if you're here for game reviews, there will be more. But my main focus is conspiracy. Oh yeah, so I did have this. I did want to share this. This is just a real small story. Yesterday, I was working cashier, and this guy comes up, and it's this old dude just wearing sunglasses. So I can't really see, you know, like, I don't mind if people wear sunglasses as long as they're communicating with me verbally. So he takes his phone out and he puts his phone down on the counter, and he pulls his wallet out and he's like, I need $20 on pump 7. And I'm like, okay. So, by the way, this was really weird. This dude had fucking fangs. Like, he was an old guy. And, like, his canines were huge, man. It was really weird. But not that that's a conspiracy. Just, it was odd. And, I go, okay. So I take his cash and put the $20 in. And I'm like, all right. And then he goes, he grabs his phone and he just throws it on the counter. And he goes, what about my points? I said, oh, and I had finished the sale, so I'm like, hang on, because let me figure this out. And he's like, you better figure it out. So he's already being fucking rude. And I'm like, well, I cashed it out. I said, I don't know if I could reopen it. And he said, well, I had my phone here with the points. And I couldn't help myself. I was a little bit of a smartass, but I'm like, yeah, I don't look at other people's phones. I don't know what you have on your phone. Like, implying there could be, like, cheese pizza on there, you know. But it's like, dude, if you're going to be rude and a dick to me, I'm going to be rude and a dick to you. And he's like, well, you should. And I'm like, I should look at other people's phones? I said, that's rude. And he's like, well, I had points. And I said, well, that's why you communicate with me verbally. And he's like, well, you better figure it out. I was like, well, I will. Let me go get my boss, you know. And I don't know. It was just interesting. It was an interesting, rude interaction. But, so today we're going to be talking about the Pope. I know it's a little bit of late news. But I had mentioned previously on a podcast, I said Malachi Martin, so disclaimer, it wasn't Malachi Martin, it was Saint Malachi. Apparently there's this whole prophecy with Saint Malachi that this current pope would be the last pope. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little excited that a Christian prophecy did not come true because I despise Christianity. And I think it's a death cult that wants the end of the world, which is insane to me. That's very cult-like right there, that people want Jesus to come back. And it's like, you know, when Jesus comes back, he's going to be pissed off, right? And he's going to be like cutting the heads off of people with the sword coming out of his mouth. And a lot of your friends and family are going to burn in hell for eternity. But for some reason, that warms Christians' hearts. The end of the world. They hate this world, Christians. They even say, like, this is Satan's kingdom. And me personally, I love this world. Like, when I look at all this beautiful shit, like the beautiful sky and the beautiful trees and flowers and the wind, and I don't know, I find comfort in nature. I think this world is a beautiful place and would like to stay here as long as possible and enjoy it. That's why I go hiking and shit. But we're dealing with a death cult. Anyways, so I was actually kind of excited. I was like, haha, you guys didn't get your Peter the Roman. Because supposedly there is, I have it written down, Ratzinger was supposed to be something of the olive. You'll have to look it up. I'm not a fucking Catholic. I used to be a Christian when I was growing up and shit. Until I like hit puberty and I kind of got smart. But Ratzinger was supposedly the olive guy. And the prophecy says from this Saint Malachi that there's going to be an olive dude. An olive dude. And the last pope will be Peter the Roman. So this is where it got interesting. And this is where I was getting excited. Like the little demon inside of me was like, your little stupid prophecy didn't come true. And you guys know how I feel about prophecies. I've discussed it on the channel. I think most of it's just bullshit. Like, I've talked about Kim Clement. I did a whole episode talking about Kim Clement. I personally have no beef with the guy. He seemed like he would have been a cool guy to talk to. But like, all these people use him as like, oh my God, like, look, he did all these prophecies and shit. And every time I've listened to him, I literally don't know what the fucking dude is talking about. It is so vague. And you'll see that a lot with fortune telling. Like, I used to do fortune telling. But I used to give, like, I've done several readings and people were like, oh my God, your readings are like, you hit the nail on the head. Because I don't do all this woo-woo, like, ooh, this vague shit. I'm just like, hey, this is what the cards are telling me. You know? And the only prophecies I believe in is my own intuition. And I don't know, I'm just very skeptical. The older I've gotten, I've become very jaded when it comes to like prophecies and shit. I used to be into like Nostradamus and stuff. But anyways, like, yeah, whenever I hear Kim Clement, I'm like, what is this guy even fucking talking about? He like closes his eyes and he'll be like, and then there was a tower, and the tower fell in the month of May, and there arose a king, and the king was hit with a spear, and then there was great tremblings on the earth. Like, what the fuck are you saying, dude? I'm not trying to be a dick, but you're making no fucking sense. Are you just pulling this shit out your fucking ass? But this is where I got interested. Because just because I'm super skeptical doesn't mean that I don't find it interesting. You can tell me the most wildest shit and I'm going to listen. I'm going to be interested. I'm going to be entertained. Doesn't mean I believe it. I've had people on my channel go, do you really believe all this shit? You know, no, I don't. I never said I believe all this shit. I just think it's interesting and entertaining. That's why I put it out, because I'm a podcaster. Like, the whole point of a podcast is to listen to it and be entertained. Um, but there was two popes who were, well, two runner-ups for popes who were going up against this new pope, which is Robert Francis Prevost is his real name. And they obviously renamed them. I didn't know this until here recently. Normally when there's a pope elected, I don't really give a shit because I despise Christianity. Because I just think they're all fucking pedophiles. Which, by the way, there has been some weird sex scandal stuff with this Robert Francis Prevost, allegedly. We're going to do a deep dive on that because I don't know the whole details of it, but supposedly he helped cover up some stuff. So we're going to do a deep dive on that. So don't get your hopes up that this new pope is going to be some amazing savior. First of all, don't get your hopes up on anyone. Not even me. No one. You know, don't trust no one, dude. But there was two Peters that were running up against this guy, so I would have loved to have like placed some bets or something. I would have bet on the two Peters and lost money, but it would have been fun. Wouldn't it be awesome if there was, I need to invent that, a website for gambling on conspiracies. A conspiracy gambling website. Ooh, I patented, I copyrighted, it's mine. That would be such an amazing fucking idea, dude. I'm gonna fucking do it, man. Anyways, so I was expecting one of them to win, because I believe that most of these prophecies are forced. You guys know how I feel about the red heifer and the Euphrates drying up. Go check that episode out. It's called The Euphrates is Drying Up. I literally explained to you that all these elites are Sabbatean Frankist, in my opinion. And Sabbatean Frankist. And they're forcing prophecy because they want the end of the world. And they think that there will be a place in heaven for them. It's a whole weird fucking religion cult. But no, the Peters lost. So I immediately was like, ha, your stupid little prophecy didn't come true. There is a channel that I watch. This dude's channel is called God Rules. There's God Rules 1 and God Rules 2. Go check him out. He's pretty cool. He's a Catholic. I believe he's Catholic. But he does a lot of like reporting on like the economy, conspiracy theories, and religion. I actually tune in to a lot of Christian channels, and a lot of people don't know that, but I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm sure there's all sorts of Christians who immediately find out that I'm an occultist, and they're like, fuck this dude, he's a devil worshiper. Like, okay, whatever. So you're gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, even though I'm putting out good fucking info. Gotcha. I don't do that. I listen to Jacob Israel, this God Rules channel. I listen to all sorts of Christian channels. They still put out good info. Do I agree with them 100%? No. But he actually like broke down this prophecy, and the prophecy is not wrong. It hasn't been debunked. So if you're like an atheist or anti-Christian channel, like sorry, but it hasn't been debunked. Trust me. I wish it was debunked because I don't want the end of the world. I, like I said, love this world and I want to live in it and enjoy it. You only get to live once, dude. Unless reincarnation is real, which I hope. Kinda. Let's see. Oh, so he broke down this prophecy and lays it all out. Between the olive guy and Peter the Roman, it does say that there is a time that there could be multiple popes in between. So that little plaque of the last place of the pope, it doesn't matter. Peter the Roman has not showed up yet. Leo the 14th is not the final pope. Sorry, I had an ice cube stuck in my straw and I didn't want dead air. So we're going to jump around just a little bit because I do actually want to keep this episode kind of woo-woo. And we're already halfway through. So the Pope's brother was on mainstream news. You guys know me, I don't watch mainstream news. I get all my news through like content creators and shit. YouTube is where I get all my news. YouTube and podcasts. Because you guys know, I mean, mainstream news is nothing but propaganda and fear mongering and fake news. Fake news, China. So this was interesting. Like I said, I don't really put a lot of, I don't put a lot of faith in prophecies. You guys know how I feel. I'm very skeptical. Unless it's me doing a prophecy with like tarot cards or something, I don't believe anyone. I don't trust anyone. But if this is a true story, this is actually pretty fucking cool. And this lady is legit. So the Pope's brother was on mainstream news. I can't remember. It might have been CNN. I don't know. I could care less. They don't deserve a shout out. And he was talking about when they were in first grade, or when Leo 14th was in first grade, they had a neighbor across the street, an old lady. And the old lady either came by or they visited, or this was way back in the day. They're both old. And I remember even as a 90s kid, we had this lady that lived across the street. Her name was Sue. Sue and Steve, her and her son. Her son worked at Blockbuster and was a big gamer, and he was a real cool dude, just like a real casual. I don't know if he smoked weed, but he seemed like he did. Just like a real chill guy. And Sue was cool too. Like I remember she had like a leg brace or a cane or something, and she used to chain smoke cigarettes. She had a shit ton of cats. I don't know, she was cool. She let us swim in her pool and stuff. So back in the day, we used to visit with our neighbors. We don't do that anymore. And COVID definitely shut a lot of that shit down, because they want us all on house arrest and trust no one, which I always say that, but it's good to have like some form of community. Some form. So this old lady, I can't remember if she came over or they went over there. It doesn't matter. This old lady went up to Leo the 14th. I think that was a lightning strike. I don't know. And she basically said, "You're going to be the first American Pope one day." What the fuck? That is so precise. That's not, oh, you're going to be a great spiritual leader. Not vague like I was talking about with Kim Clement. This was like, she literally just looked at him and was like, "You're going to be the first American Pope someday." That's an amazing fucking prophecy. I don't know if that was a download from the creator of all. I don't know what the fuck that was, but for her little prophecy to come true and her basically say like, "Hey, you're going to be the first American Pope." That is so precise and so fucking precise. Like, how, what? Like, that's it. I'm sorry. That is one of the few times that I would be like, someone's going to call me a flip-flopper, but I am kind of like, dude, that's insane. Like, to just pull that out of thin air and so precise. But, something interesting that somebody had mentioned to the God Rules guy is apparently his brother is like super pro-Trump. I don't know, I just thought that was funny. We'll get back into that in a second, but apparently someone looked up his brother and he like tweets a shit ton about Trump, and he's like super pro-Trump. I just thought that was funny. But here's something else that's weird about this whole Pope shit. We're going to be just covering the Pope shit. All the Pope shit. The Pope, like, pretty much this whole episode, I believe. During his inauguration, I guess that's what you call it. or his canonization would be for saints. His inauguration or whatever. Him getting into the popehood. Is that what it's called? Popehood? I'm going through my popehood. It's so stupid that we have these guys in dresses and everyone worships them and deifies them. You gotta admit, this is so fucking silly. Apparently during his like inauguration or whatever, someone was filming the crowd and it was caught on like live television. This wasn't like a phone recording. I don't think so. It looked legit, like live. There was a fucking shadow person running through the crowd. We've covered shadow people tons of times on this channel because it's such a reoccurring phenomenon. And you guys know me, I love getting into like the paranormal and shit like that. I just love that shit. I do love like the woo-woo shit. Do I believe it all? No. I'm very skeptical, but I do love, it's interesting, you know? And it's legit, like, it's a shadow person running through the fucking crowd. And it reminded me of that footage, if you guys have seen it before. Obviously I'm recording on my cell phone, so I can't really pull it up, but there was like a famous footage of a baseball game and you could see a shadow person running through the stands. It reminded me almost exactly like that. It's like running through the crowd of people, all worshiping the poop. Sorry. P-O-O-P-E, you know, the poop. But I don't know. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of Christians that go, see, you know, the Vatican's so dark, and which the Vatican is dark, but you know, oh, like he's so satanic, that's why shadow people are popping up. You could say that, or you could say the reverse, just playing devil's advocate. If the dude is so holy, don't you think the demons would be trying to fuck with his followers? And it's a lose-lose with Christians, though. You know, if you see shadow people at the Pope's inauguration, they're going to say, oh, see, he's evil. But it's like, well, maybe he's so holy and good that that's why shadow people are showing up. I heard a preacher one time, he made a really good point that when someone gets saved, and I'm not saying I believe this shit, I got saved like twice or 3 times when I was a kid because I was paranoid of burning in hell. And then I denounced Christ, so. This preacher was saying, like, when someone gets saved, that that is like one of the most dangerous times for a Christian on their path or whatever, because like that's when the devil's the most mad because they just lost a soul, so they're going to like spiritually attack you like 10 times harder and focus on you, and demonic oppression perhaps, because they want you to be like, oh, I just got saved and life is getting worse. Maybe I want to go back to the way life used to be, like, which is smart. If the devil were to exist, I don't believe in, like, I believe in a devil type of archetype, you know. We'll have to do a whole episode. I believe in tulpas. I believe if you believe in something hard enough, it's gonna happen and come true. But I don't know, I just found that interesting. So, we're still talking about the Pope. Here's something fucking crazy. So, the old Pope, not the new Pope, but the old Pope, there was footage of one of the last few times there was footage of him. And this reminds me, by the way, of 2 different videos we talked about on this channel. Was one where the Pope with the rubber mask, he pulls his nose and it stretches out like a goblin, and it's like, whoa, that's a rubber mask. And the Pope vanishing. He did this whole little seminar thing and talking to the people and turned around and just vanished. Crazy shit. And people are like, oh, that's just the camera's fucking up. Like, I believe in camera glitches. I mean, you guys know how I feel about the whole reptilian shit. That, like, Most of it, I believe, is camera glitches, you know. But, like, someone to completely vanish, that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's a video artifact, you know. So, there was a video. Apparently, it was Easter. It was before the Pope died. I don't know if it was... It couldn't have been Easter because he died like the next fucking day. I don't think it was Easter, but it was right before he died, the last Pope. And there's a video of him and he's like hunched over with his hands like crossed. And you see him move his hand and there's a third fucking hand. I don't think this is paranormal. This is just me being a skeptic. I think that video could have been fucking AI, dude. AI has gotten so fucking good, it's almost flawless. It is getting creepy and more insane. You guys know how I feel about AI. But one thing that you'll notice that AI struggles with is hands. It'll give people like 6 fingers, and that's where like the whole Nephilim connection comes in. And AI has admitted in interviews with people that it is fallen angel technology, that it is fallen angel entities that we are speaking to. It's literally admitted it multiple times on different types of chat GTP and all sorts of different types of AI and shit. It's admitted, like, yeah, we're fallen angels, you know. And that's one of the traits of the Nephilim. The offspring of the fallen angels is 6 fingers. So maybe the theory is that maybe it's kind of like giving you a hint, a revelation of the method of like, hey, we can't figure fingers out. Everyone just seems to have 6 fingers. So, you know, kind of like a revelation of the method, you know. That we're fallen angels and our offspring have 6 fingers. And by the way, if you have 6 fingers, that doesn't mean you're like evil. Like my uncle had 6 fingers. He had them removed on both hands, you know. He was technically Nephilim bloodline. He wasn't blood uncle either, by the way. He was adopted. So before anyone goes, Abe's admitting he's fallen angel and Nephilim, like, see, Illuminati confirmed. Like, he was adopted, dumbass. But yeah, there's like a third hand there. So, either the Pope grew a third arm, and he can vanish, and he can stretch his nose out like a goblin. I did know a guy in school, he had like a rubber chin. Like, I mean, it was a legit chin, but he was able to like pull it and stretch it. It was really fucking weird. My buddy Sean in high school, we used to pull on it all the time. But, yeah, dude, so the Pope has a stretchy nose, like a rubber mask. He has 3 arms now. And, yeah, he can vanish, you know. So I think, personally, it's AI. I think that motherfucker was probably already fucking dead. There's a part of me, too, that believes the Queen of England was already dead. Because they were already taking off, like, the royal seals off the gates and shit, and doing funeral ceremonies of, like, the king riding through the streets on the carriage, which they only do that when the queen dies, like, weird shit like that. And I'm not a Q-tard or nothing, but I don't believe that's the same fucking Joe Biden, you know. I mean, what was it, Easter, dude? Someone discovered that he photoshopped himself into a family Easter get-together. Like, it's, I don't know. I'm not saying the original's probably dead of Joe Biden, but it's so hard to fucking tell. And these popes, like I said, don't even use their real names and shit. So, it makes me wonder if they're going to force the Saint Malachi prophecy because they renamed them. If they're actually just going to be like, yeah, this is Peter the Roman. See, the prophecy came true. And turns out the guy's name is like Alberto Francisco or something. But I mean, you see how these motherfuckers do. They force prophecy. So, and then all the Christian community freaks out and gets all happy and excited, and it's like, it's so weird. But yeah, I think we covered a bunch of cool shit. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers. And y'all have a good day. God bless.